As we all know, the worldwide changes that have taken place in the past couple of decades have intensified some of the global challenges we are facing. At the same time, one of the main features of the current transnational environment has been a redistribution of power, both a redistribution of power within nation states, that is between the national governments and the governments at the provincial, state, municipal, or county levels, as well as between governmental and non-governmental actors. In this evolving context, states like Nuevo León and cities like Monterrey, which is the capital of Nuevo León, and where close to 85% of our state's population live, have emerged as rightful, proactive players in the global economic, cultural, and political arena. The term global can help us to pinpoint this idea because some of the significant global challenges have the greatest impact at the local level in cities like Monterrey or Delicias, Chihuahua, as Edgar can confirm. And also because it is at the local level, that is at the state or city level, where many of the answers to these challenges are being proposed, sometimes out of clearly defined programs to improve competitiveness, and unfortunately, sometimes out of sheer urgency. That is because another of the main features of the global landscape is the inability of many national governments to cope with all the challenges that they currently face. The persisting threat of terrorism and nuclear proliferation, the ongoing consequences of the global economic and financial crisis, the growing danger of drug trafficking cartels, and the effects of climate change are but a few of the issues that national governments must respond to. Their resources and also their electorally defined attention spans are naturally limited, and therefore sometimes they postpone decisions on issues that affect millions of people at the local level. In this context, governments at the state level often must act on their own to produce tangible results for their citizens. Of course, one of the places where the issue of the fight against drug cartels has had a significant impact is precisely the state of Nuevo León, and particularly the metropolitan zone of Monterrey. Before we go into explaining in detail the initiatives that we are implementing to effectively address this challenge, I would like to highlight three important aspects of the current context in the country. First, the Mexican government at all levels is committed to offering a secure environment for all citizens and corporations. Second, the Mexican government is engaged in ambitious hemispheric effort to disrupt and dismantle drug cartels. And third, whoever wins the presidency of Mexico, and I assume also the US next year, will necessarily have to continue the fight against the drug cartels and all other forms of organized crime, because this is a key national, regional, and global security issue. The question is how the fight is going to proceed in the future, on what terms, under what conditions, and based on what strategy. The answer is already taking shape at the local level in places like Nuevo León here. First and foremost, we recognize that the current violence in some specific areas of the country is a complex problem, and as such, that it originates from multiple factors, and ultimately that it has many different expressions. Two of the ones are, on one hand, the present criminal group, the fight between cartels with high impact incidents, and the diversification of their criminal tactics. And on the other hand, our social fabric has long gone through a process of weakness. Since this is, as I mentioned, a complex matter with many ramifications, the government of the state of Nuevo León has adopted a comprehensive approach to fight the criminals, but also to address the social roots of the problem. This comprehensive strategy includes 4 pillars. First pillar is a unified police command and greater state-federal coordination. Second pillar, police and law enforcement related actions, the institutional thinking behind the new construction of a police institution. Third pillar is the implementation of the judicial system reform. And the fourth pillar has to do with social investment and society participation. Let me go to briefly to one of each of those four pillars. One of the most important actions we are undertaking is the implementation of a new unified command model that the governor of Nuevo León promoted at the National Conference of Mexican Governors, and that later was sent to Congress by President Felipe Calderón for its discussion and approval. This is a very important structural change in the way our police is organized. Currently in Mexico, every municipal government has its police force, and each state government has also its own police. In the case of Nuevo León, this means that we have 52 different police organizations, 51 municipalities, and 1 state police. So what we're doing in placing all those forces under a single command in order to avoid strategic and operational fragmentation. At the same time, we have established a coordination task force between the authorities of the state of Nuevo León and all public security and law enforcement related federal government authorities to articulate common tactics and improve our joint efforts against organized crime. So first pillar has to do with unified command of the police force at the state level and a very important coordination between the state and federal government to face and to cope with criminal organizations. Regarding the second pillar, the police and law enforcement related actions, there are two types of initiatives. On the one hand, those meant for coping with the short-term aspects of the strategy, and on the other hand, those designed to have an impact on the medium term. Regarding short-term actions, we are strengthening our operational tactics with support from the Mexican Army and the Mexican Navy. As a transitional measure, we have even incorporated some members of the Army into the state police force. Now there are policemen under the command of the state forces. As for the medium term, we're putting a special emphasis on police development and reinforcement. For example, we're working towards achieving the United Nations standard of 3 policemen per 1,000 inhabitants, which in our case means a total force of close to 14,000 policemen. We're also reinforcing our trust control or vetting capacity, as well as strengthening our police academy, while at the same time working on a plan for dignifying our police forces with better salaries, family benefits, and also a very important program of professionalization of the police forces. So it is a whole effort in this second year of building a new police institution in the state. This time, the state Congress and the Senate government are proceeding with the necessary legal adjustments to the local constitution and with organizational procedures to implement the federal enacted reform to the judicial system, which among any other things includes a transition of our traditional system into the new oral trials. Because at the same time that we strengthen our own police forces, implement the unified police command, and further coordinate with all federal security authorities, we need to ensure that the criminals that are caught and charged with breaking the law are also able to undergo due process and punished to the fullest extent possible.